All right, folks, this is Sherman Ray, and this is the Livin in Vegas podcast. Time to get this show started. Let's go. Hey, well, good morning, everybody. This is Sherman Ray, and this is the Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. When you're thinking of living in Vegas, folks, think living local and the return of cool. So I want to welcome you all to the show today. We have been gone for pretty much a week now. Yeah, I was out filming and doing some touching people. We'll talk a little bit about that today. Let me adjust this camera just a little bit. So, we're not gone by any stretch of the imagination. I just was out filming a lot of segments that we'll be doing later, and so you can't be at two places at one time, and but we're back today because I really wanted to make sure I got back on to talk to my friends, my loved ones, my homies, all that kind of stuff. I want to welcome all our friends from Facebook. You're on YouTube, maybe you're visiting us. I want to welcome you all to the show. And I'm going through right now and just kind of touch bases with everybody, I guess, right now on Facebook. I know some people are probably thinking, man, where have you been, Sherm? Yeah. And I know the mustache is really growing in and beard's growing in really strong and healthy now. So, it is what it is. We just do our thing, and there it is. Okay, want to make sure we're up. So for those of you, this might be your first time checking out the page, checking out the podcast. I'm Sherman Ray. I am the publisher of Livin in Vegas magazine. I guess let's put that up on now. Let's put the magazine up there real quick. There's the current issue of Livin in Vegas magazine on the front cover. My brother Nathan Hall over at Bad Beat Brewing Company, and Bad Brewed is over. It's over in Henderson, actually. We're going to talk a little bit about Henderson today. But I want you guys to really send out some prayers for Nathan. I spoke to him just yesterday, and he's actually got strep throat. So he's got a little bit of throat thing going on there, which is tough because it's hard to talk to the ladies when you're a guy. No, I shouldn't say it. It's because Nathan's a stud. He's just a good looking guy. And so he told me, he goes, yeah, this thing that got me, and so we want to send up prayers to him and for him, I should say, and pray the Lord just help that brother out, and also we want to encourage you to go to our website, livininvegas.com, check out the current edition of Livin in Vegas magazine. It's very cool, probably one of the best editions we've gotten out in a long time. There's an article on the return of cool, and we've been talking about that a lot, the return of cool. And really, if you read the article, you'll understand why we talk about the return of cool. And so you definitely want to get to be a part of that. Also have a Livin weekly. Oh, that's the wrong picture of it. I'm going to put up the. Let's get the right picture of. Let me make sure. I want to make sure we have the right pictures up here because there's nothing worse than having the wrong logo up for the magazine. Oh my gosh, I can't get it. How come I can't get to that? I think we had the same problem last time too, where I couldn't get to the. I'm gonna try again, folks. Where I couldn't get to the cover of the July edition of Livin Weekly magazine. I still don't seem to be able to get to it. I'm going to get to this before the end of the week. Hopefully, maybe in one of the breaks or something like that, we can actually get the right picture up there, Livin Weekly. But it's talking about some of the lost places that are in Vegas, and also we're putting together a list of places you can go to in Las Vegas that are for free. And you'll understand why we're doing this because because the show today is going to center around affordability here in Las Vegas. So be sure you go to our Livin in Vegas website to pick up a copy of Livin Weekly. Okay. Also, if you want to be in either one of these publications, folks, just write us at info@livininvegas.com. That's info@livininvegas.com. We would love to have you in either one of our publications. Okay, so um, don't even think that we don't want you in there. We definitely would love to have you in there. Also, we just started a new group, and it's called Christian Business LV. So Christian Biz LV, and it's a networking group. It's a meetup for Christian business owners, and we encourage you folks to get to be a part of that. Also, this is going to be really fun. I'm looking really forward to heading up this group and beginning to launch some things in it. As a matter of fact, there's an organization that we just spoke to yesterday. I know we've been really busy. We just spoke to them yesterday. They are going to be a part of the Christian Business Directory that we're going to be starting. And really, it's just a way of connecting business owners, because that's really what we do. We connect business owners. We're cheerleaders for Las Vegas, that kind of stuff. So you want more information about Christian Biz LV, just send us your info send it to info@livininvegas.com. Okay, just send it there, and you can actually check that out. And lastly, but not leastly, folks, we just started a clothing line that's called Livin 702. So Livin 702 brands. It's going to be very cool. My wife and I talked about this. I don't know how long ago we talked about this. I think we talked about this starting, a couple of years ago, on how cool it would be to start a brand of clothing that's focused around a real cool brand. And so Livin Brands, or Livin 702 Brands, is going to be the brand that we're going to be around. You'll be looking for this. You'll be seeing much, much more of this as time goes by. So I really encourage you folks to check this out. It's going to be so much fun to watch this grow. So Livin 702 Brands, okay? So I want to make sure we got that in. Okay. Hey, let's take a really quick break, and then we'll be back and we'll talk a little bit about the show day, okay? Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Yeah, and folks, if you would like to be a part of Livin in Vegas, definitely contact us. Really would love for you to be it, especially if you are into the sales department. We are looking for content people, and we're looking for salespeople to be a part of the team. And we're gonna hit this hard, especially this quarter. There's so much opportunity for anybody who's got the acumen, got the love, has got the drive, got the energy, and wants to have fun, to be a part of Livin in Vegas magazine. So definitely, if you would like to be a part of what we're doing here, definitely send. Do I have an email address? Do I have it up there? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so if you would like to be a part of Livin in Vegas, send me your info at info@livininvegas.com. That's info@livininvegas.com, and we would love to have you to be a part. We're going to leave that up, okay? Because want to make sure that if you would like to be a part of anything that we're doing here, folks, that you know how to get on contact with us, okay? So that's info@livininvegas.com. So let's talk a little bit today, and I know a lot of you have not I've not seen you in so long, and I really miss being a part of what you're doing. Um, give you a shout out if you'd like to be on any one of our pages. Right now, I'm looking at our Living in Vegas group page, and I'm also looking at our magazine page. So I'm not looking at the well. I guess I can go to the Living Weekly page too and open that up. Um, let's see here. Let's open up Living Weekly page too. Okay, so now we're open on every one of those pages. So if you have anything you want to say, definitely say it. I can actually see what you're shouting out there. Okay. Um, so, um, in the news, because let's get straight to what we want to talk about today. So two things. Okay. So in the last week or so, we've had a real weather change here in Las Vegas. A lot of rain, a lot of weird stuff is going on. We call it monsoon season, and monsoon season happens for about a week every year here in Las Vegas, about this time of year, and that can be a blessing and it can be a curse. You know that we've had a drought here for like the last 20 years, which is not unusual for the desert where it's dry, but we've had some real severe weather where it's been really dry. The lake level has been going down, and people have been finding barrels, and we're not going to talk about it today because there was another barrel found out at Lake Mead with another body in it, or excuse me, not a barrel with a body, but another body found out at Lake Mead. And you can check that out on our website, livininvegas.com, and see the story that we've got on there out there about that story. But when monsoon season happens here in the valley, what happens is all of a sudden, sky opens up, rain hits the Las Vegas Valley. And if you've not been here for any length of time, you may not be used to this. And the reason why I'm going to stress this is because a lot of people live in places where it rains all the time. Seattle, Oregon, Idaho, places like that, parts of California, where it just rains all the time. You're used to it. Here in Las Vegas, the desert Southwest, we're not used to the rain all the time. I think we get 1 inch an entire year, maybe 1.5 inches. So we don't get a lot at all. So when it rains here, a couple of things happen. The roads get slippery because the oil bubbles up from the asphalt, and people get weirded out in their cars. They're sliding all over the place. But more importantly is out in the desert, the water, which normally in places like Seattle and Oregon and all those other places that goes straight into the ground and sinks down in the ground, doesn't do that here in the desert. No, I know you're thinking, what? Where does the water go? Well, because we have a desert landscaping here, but desert, flora and fauna. It's my new words, flora and fauna. The water hits the top of the topsoil, and it doesn't go straight into the ground. It doesn't it doesn't get absorbed. Some of it does, but pretty quickly it doesn't. Okay, it just doesn't because it's so hard. And that water can create floods. It'll just pool back up like a big swimming pool, and eventually it'll start looking for where to go down. And here in the valley, our topography, it's my other big word, our topography is that we're in a big basin. Okay, so we're in a big basin here. We have Mount Charleston to our west, we've got Sunrise Mountain to our east, and we've got Sheep Mountain to the south, and we've got a bit, and so everything kind of falls from Mount Charleston area, which is on the west, and everything kind of goes downhill to the center of the valley, where downtown is at, and then it goes down to the Vegas Wash. Okay, why do I say that? Well, because if you don't know that, you can get caught up in a flash flood really quickly. And that is what the people over at the Southern Nevada Conservancy said on their Twitter account to the people who went up to Red Rock Canyon on Tuesday to see this waterfall that was out there. So Red Rock Canyon is a big, nice, beautiful, such a beautiful place out there. Well, when it rains and it's monsoon season, you'll see waterfalls, you'll see flooding, you'll see the water going across the streets, and it can be very, very, did I say very? Very, very dangerous up in the Red Rock Canyon area during monsoon season, especially if you're not thinking that, oh, I could get killed up here because there's a waterfall. Okay, if you see a waterfall out at Lake over at Red Rock Canyon, that means two things. One, that there is water on the other side of that waterfall because it's coming down. And number two, you probably should look for a way to get away from that area. Okay? Take a picture real quick, get out. Because it could be the first signs of flash flooding coming over there. Because there are some areas in Red Rock where there's water that runs, okay? And there's some areas where if you see running water, it's probably not a good sign, okay? So I'm glad all you folks that were up in the Red Rock area got to see the nice, waterfall and stuff like that. It's wonderful. It's so ethereal. It's so majestic. Oh, it's just wonderful. But you could have been seeing a flash flood, and many of you, we posted a picture about this. I don't know, a week ago, where we talked about the flooding that occurred here in 75, 72, 75, where those, once in a millennial cloudbursts happened, and it just rained for like 3 or 4 days. I remember when I was in high school or junior high school, it rained and it came down like I don't know what to tell you, but people had boats that they used on Pecos. That's right, Pecos is not a river, but Pecos became a river. In between Las Vegas Boulevard and Lake Mead, it was a river all the way down that road, and people had their boats out there, and they were sailing down Pecos. Okay, that is how severe the rain can happen here in Las Vegas. What time is it? Okay, I do have time for this. All right, so let's talk about a story that we started off the podcast by talking about how Vegas is just a wonderful place to live. People come here, and over the last, I don't know, 10 years or so, we've become the prettiest girl on the block. And what I mean by that is Mayor Carolyn Goodman, her husband Oscar Goodman, former mayor Oscar Goodman, had a dream for Vegas that we would become a cosmopolitan city. Okay, nothing wrong with that. It's a wonderful idea. Well, their efforts paid off. In the last 5 years or so, we became the sports capital of the world. We have baseball, we have football, we have hockey, we have professional football, we have women's basketball. Our university system is just off the chain. We just got a lacrosse team, and it also then this week, was it last week? It was just announced that the old XFL team, the first of our football teams that ever came to Las Vegas, is coming back. Remember, some of you probably remember He Hate Me, who was a wide receiver, how he was part of the XFL, and it was the old Las Vegas Wranglers, I believe it was the name of our team. Dwayne Rock Johnson bought the XFL and said, hey, let's go back into Vegas because it is ripe. Oh, I forgot we have UFC here too. We're the home of UFC. So, with all of that growth and soccer, I forgot soccer too because now we're going to get another soccer team, and we're going to get probably a professional soccer team here also. I mean, the FC Lights are professionals, but you know what I mean. It's a, the big leagues soccer team. So, with all of that growth comes people. And with all those people come a rise in the prices of homes, price of rent, price of restaurants, because now we have more people. When I first got here to Las Vegas, and I'm going to tell you very plainly, folks, when I first got here to Las Vegas in 1963, okay, I know it's a long, long time ago. Some of my buddies who watch this show, you've been here for a long time too. We've been here since 63. There were less than 200,000 people here in Las Vegas. Okay, I think there was like 125,000. Okay, now in the metro area of Las Vegas, we're pushing 2 million people. Okay, that's a lot of bodies. That's a lot of people bumping elbows. Okay, that's a lot of people vying for the attention and services and all this other stuff. Well, we posed a question to our Facebook friends: has Las Vegas, or does Las Vegas run the risk of gentrification, not just of a neighborhood, but of an entire city? What do we mean by that? Has it gotten, or is it getting to the point where it is so expensive here in Las Vegas that the people who've lived here for decades, like you and me, is it going to become too expensive for us to live here? I bought a home here. I was a realtor here years ago, and you could buy a home here in Las Vegas for $20,000. Okay, and that was, that's a little tract home. It's nothing beautiful, but it's a tract home. That same $20,000 today would be a down payment on a home. Okay, you're not going to get a home for $20,000. There's no way. As short as 10 years ago, you could buy a condo here in Las Vegas, and I know, for $40,000. Okay, nowadays the median price on a condo in Las Vegas is about $240,000. That is how it's crazy. We bought our second home here in the valley, up in Summerlin. 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, 3-car garage, pool in the back, corner lot, the largest lot in the valley, right off of town center. We were literally a quarter of a mile away from a major golf course. We called ourselves Ghetto Summerlin because we were surrounded by really high-end homes. We bought that home for $139,000 for that home. That was in 1998. Okay, so that was 22 years ago, 23 years ago, 24 years ago. Oh my gosh, it's been that long. That house now is about $500,000. $500,000 for that house that I bought as a first-time buyer for that neighborhood for $139,000. The mortgage company said, "Oh, you can qualify for $250,000. Just go ahead, buy a bigger home." And we said, "No, I don't think so, because this home, I know Vegas. I know Vegas pretty well." And I said, "This house is not worth $250,000. It's a tract home, for goodness sake." I was selling when I was a realtor, $120,000 would get you half an acre. $120,000 would get you a half acre and a home on that half acre. Okay, now you're not even going to cut. There's no way you're going to touch that. So there was in North Las Vegas, they were trying to put on the ballot a rent control bill to get it on, or a question on the ballot for November. They failed in their attempt to get that on. And what they're trying to do is they're basically trying to control the price of rents, homes, that kind of stuff. And I'm a capitalist, so I don't believe you should be able to control how much people are charging for things. But the reason why they're doing this is very, very, it's a salient point. Here in Las Vegas, you used to be able to go to the Aces games, the Las Vegas Aces. Now, I remember the Las Vegas Aces. I don't want to run out of time here, but okay. So, I contacted the Aces in 2020, which is just 2 years ago, and couldn't get a hold of them then. I did get one of the players at a golf course or at a tournament I was doing at the time for the Black Business Chamber of Commerce, and I got a bunch of NFL players, that kind of stuff. But I couldn't get a hold of the Aces themselves. I wanted to adopt them as our organization. We wanted to adopt them because nobody was going to the games. Okay, I mean, they really in 2020, the Aces were the redheaded stepchild. Nobody wanted to watch their games. My brother-in-law and I, Chip, we would be on Gucci Row. Well, not even Gucci Row. We'd be one row back. So we'd be in row 2. Over at the same place we're playing right now, Mandalay Bay. And nobody was near us. I mean, nobody, because we paid $10 for the seat. Okay, we got, and nobody else wanted to pay that. So everybody else was paying, whatever, to sit back. The stadium was basically empty. This is just 2 years ago. Nowadays, you're not going to get into an Aces game like that. It's not going to happen. The Vegas Golden Knights came in. Prices went to, I think it's $75 to get into an Aces game. The Aviators came in. Their prices, I remember them when they were the Aviator, or excuse me, the 51s and the Stars, and it was like $5 for a ticket. No, it was $2 and $5. They were begging people to come in to watch their games. Okay, and so I want to be a realist about this. Yes, the law of supply and demand mandates that you charge more for your tickets, but at this point, for you to get to or to watch a game that just 2 years ago they were begging people to go in the game, you're probably not going to get into that game for less than $100 now. And the Raiders, forget about it. You're not getting it, and you're just not going to get into that game at all unless you saved up. And Raiders fans are just that way. They'll pay whatever it takes to get into a Raiders game. So my question is Las Vegas becoming gentrified? Okay, is there a gentrification issue in Las Vegas, and what can we do about it? We're putting out this week, folks, in Livin Weekly magazine, our part 2 of things to do in Las Vegas for free. Okay, there's a ton of things. We put together a list of 100 things to do in Las Vegas for free that are just fantastic, folks. I mean, not just, hey, guess what? You can sit in the park and watch, birds, feeding birds. Okay, that's not what it is. Okay, we're talking about really fun things you can do in Las Vegas, and we think that you will want to check that out. So definitely check out Livin Weekly magazine this week. Just go to our Livin in Vegas page, and it'll be on the right-hand side. We'll talk about it Friday. And definitely, if you would like to get on our mailing list, just send us your contact info to info@livininvegas.com. That's info@livininvegas.com. Get on our mailing list, and we will send this information to you. Okay, you don't have to go looking for it. We'll send it to you. It'll be in your inbox. Okay. Also, once again, if you are looking to get into the media business, okay, if you're looking to get into radio, TV, print media, you want to get into podcasting, contact us. We're looking to bring people in to Livin in Vegas magazine, and you can be a part of our growing family. We're going on a year now, folks. I mean, it's amazing how quickly we're going on to a year. So anyways, thank you all for being a part of the show today, folks. We will see you again Friday. Okay, we're only going to do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from now on because it's getting so busy. But we will be back on Friday for another edition of Livin in Vegas magazine. This has been Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas magazine, where we talk to you about the people, the places, the trends, the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. When you think of living in Vegas, folks, think living local and the return of cool. We'll see you again Friday, 8:30 for Livin in Vegas podcast. Bye-bye.